Hello friends, welcome to The Buzz. I'm Susie Lytle, and on this episode we're going to start the new year off strong by introducing you to a new facility in Will County. New Year is also a good time to learn new hobbies. So let's get bit by the birding bug to learn your backyard birds. And we'll get a quick rundown on snowshoes so you can enjoy winter hikes. Let's get ready to explore new things on this episode of The Buzz. The Forest Preserve District of Will County frequently acquires new land all across the county. Sometimes it gets donated to the district, but other times we actively seek out properties to purchase to extend our greenways and expand our trails. Now this new acquisition is a tad different. We're adding a new facility and new fishing lakes to our holdings. Welcome to Hidden Oaks Nature Center and Hidden Lakes Trout Farm here in Bolingbrook. Formerly owned by Bolingbrook Park District, Hidden Oaks is located just south of the Forest Preserve District's Wallen Lake. Wallen Lake is a hotspot for birding, fishing, kayak rentals, and programming. It also features a dog park and a trail that loops around the lake. The best part is that along the DuPage River Trail, there is a bridge connecting Wallen Lake and Hidden Oaks. Hidden Lakes Trout Farm consists of 4 fishing ponds that are adjacent to the DuPage River. These ponds are stocked and will continue to have fishing derbies in the future. A new bait shop is first on the list of improvements planned by the district, and work is already underway. When I say the district is involved in these sites, I do mean the whole organization. All the departments are coming together to meet and start working on how to make Hidden Oaks the best it can be. We're going to be looking at the trails and the lakes and the properties and the programs to have a thoughtful eye on what's working really great and what future projects could come next. To get more information and history of these sites, we wanted to invite the district's executive director, Ralph Schultz, to join us today. Thank you for coming. So nice to see you again.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Let's start from the very beginning. Can you tell us the original partnership between Bolingbrook Park District and us to acquire the land?
Sure. Back in the mid-2000s, the Forest Preserve District and the Park District worked together to acquire the site that the Hidden Oaks Nature Center sits on today. So we've always been committed to working in the DuPage River Greenway and working with our partner agencies throughout the area. And this was an opportunity for us to work together to acquire the property. And then to, actually we provided the funding and the Park District acquired the property, and then they constructed the Nature Center shortly thereafter.
Now let's fast forward. How did the district get back involved to purchase this property?
The Park District reached out to me, their executive director, Ron Ostreit, reached out to me, and we had a conversation about what the future of the Nature Center might look like if it was owned by the Forest Preserve District rather than the Park District. The Park District had gone through a visioning exercise and had decided that perhaps this wasn't their priority area of interest, and so they were looking for a way to kind of continue on with the whole nature theme and the nature education, knowing that there was an agency out there like ours that could probably pick up where they left off and take it to the next step.
What impact will this acquisition have, knowing we have nearby preserves?
I think it'll have a tremendous impact on what the Forest Preserve District can offer to the folks here in Bolingbrook and nearby in Naperville and Romeoville. We have had a presence in the DuPage River Greenway since the early 2000s, or actually the 1990s, when we acquired Wallen Lake. We acquired Wallen Lake, a former gravel quarry, worked with the quarry company to restore and rehabilitate that facility and create what is there today as Wallen Lake, and then worked with the Naperville Park District as well to extend the DuPage River Greenway Trail back to the west and linking into the city of Naperville. We then worked with the Bolingbrook Park District to create the connection over the river to connect Wallen Lake, Hidden Lakes, and Hidden Oaks Nature Center. So for us, this is just a natural progression. We've been here, we've provided access to folks, we've provided recreational opportunities, paddling and trails and picnicking and those types of things. But this is an opportunity for us to do one of the things that we do better than any other agency
Right.
in this county, and that is nature education. We're very familiar with it. We run other nature centers and visitor facilities throughout the county. But this is a unique opportunity for us to be in such an urban area.
This was a different acquisition, as in, we already have exhibits. It's already been a staple in the community. What are the benefits of having this turnkey facility to work with?
Well, this is a fantastic opportunity for us. This is the first time we've ever actually had a kind of a turnkey, purpose-built facility that we've acquired for the purpose that we acquired it for. So we've turned Boy Scout camps into nature centers. We've turned restaurants into
history museums.
We've turned private buildings into Four Rivers Environmental Education Center. So we're really good at reusing things, but this is the first time we don't have to kind of strip everything down and build it back up. So this is a great opportunity for us, one in which we can walk right in and start to do what we do. So the Nature Center itself, obviously you have about a 7,000 square foot facility, purpose-built nature center with exhibition space, meeting rooms, offices, restrooms, those kinds of things. So it'll be a natural, or it'll be easy for our staff to begin to program the site because it's familiar territory to them. But on the exterior of the site, we also have interpretive trails that were constructed by the Park District. We have outdoor play areas, nature play areas, not playgrounds.
Right.
So nature play areas, a council ring, other program spaces, exterior use spaces, decks, roof deck, decks out on the ground. So there's a number of different elements here already.
Do you know the history of the trout farms?
I know a little bit about them. They were originally in private ownership back in the 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then the Park District acquired the property from the family that owned it, and then they began to operate it as the Hidden Lakes Historic Trout.
A lot of our water bodies get stocked by the IDNR. Will the trout farm get stocked as well, or is it different because it's a farm?
No, it will be stocked by IDNR. So the Park District also had a stocking program with IDNR. We'll continue that. We'll stock it in a similar fashion. And then we'll work with the Park District also on some programming. They ran a number of fishing derbies here through our intergovernmental agreement. We'll continue to do those in partnership with them. And so we hope that the lakes and the management of the lakes and the use of the lakes won't change for folks at all.
Perfect.
I'm excited to be able to have a facility like this, one that's similar to our other facilities throughout the county, but an area where we've never been able to really flex our muscle, our environmental education muscle, I guess, if you want to say that, in a way that will really be beneficial to the area up here. And I think that we can continue to work in partnership with the Park District, with the village, with the city of Naperville Park District. There's so much opportunity here for us to just reach out and do the things that we do best and add to that whole conservation conversation.
We are thrilled to be involved with these new sites and can't wait to bring new programs and events to the community. To keep up with our progress and new updates, check out reconnectwithnature.org and the Hidden Oaks Nature Center Facebook page. Make sure to give us a like so you don't miss out on a thing.
This winter, be sure to venture out to this cool spot at Goodnow Grove Nature Preserve in Beecher. There's so much to do and see. Soak in some amazing scenery hit the sled hill with enthusiasm, or simply chill out in the Nature Center and learn some new things. Say hello to our residents who call the Nature Center home. Get an inside look at a working beehive. See how many birds you can count at our very busy feeders. Browse the gift shop. And don't forget to get a dog park permit for your four-legged friend. Plum Valley Dog Park is just minutes away. So go ahead, map your next adventure at reconnectwithnature.org and plan a visit soon.
Winter doesn't have to be a limiting time to get outside. The right equipment makes all the difference. My favorite time to go for a hike is right after a big snowstorm. But walking in all that snow can be kind of a pain. So, snowshoes to the rescue. Snowshoes are not a new invention, and they've been used throughout history. Now, finding the right kind of style can make all the difference for your next winter hike. It is believed that humans started using snowshoes 6,000 years ago in Central Asia. And it wasn't just for fun or recreation, it was for survival. Snowshoes were a must when they were hunting and gathering. And they also used them for transportation, to cross the continents even. They snowshoed across the Bering Land Sea Bridge to get to North America. If you think about all the different kinds of habitats and environments in North America, there's a lot of elements to consider. Some areas are wide and open, while others are dense and forested. So therefore, there are different styles of snowshoes to work with all these different elements. There are 4 common styles of snowshoes: bear paw, Ojibwe, Alaskan, and Huron. Now, the names may change from region to region, but the shapes are generally the same. First up is the bear paw. This is an all-rounded snowshoe with no tail, and it's used for those dense areas with lots of thick brush. The Ojibwe snowshoe is a longer shoe with an upturned point and a tail. These tails act as rudders and counterweights. This shoe would be great for open areas and with the crusty snow because this tip will break apart the snow as you walk. The Alaskan has a rounded upturned toe with a long tail and is the largest. This makes it the sturdiest as it has the most surface area. It's best for open areas and deep snow. Last is the Huron, or called a catfish because it kind of looks like a fish, has a rounded toe and a shorter tail. This is a hybrid between the Ojibwe and the Alaskan, so it makes it like it's all-purpose shoe, good for a variety of snow conditions. Modern snowshoes really haven't changed shapes from long ago. They've just changed the building materials. Here's a modernized Huron that's made out of plastic, and here's a more modernized bear paw made with a metal frame. It's all about the science behind them. You want to increase your surface area of your foot so that you float on the snow rather than sink in. If you're looking to buy a pair of snowshoes, think about where you're going to go and what you're going to be doing. The different kinds of environments you're going to face will determine the different styles of snowshoe you'll need. And here are my tips for walking in them. First, go when there's deep enough snow, then walk with a little waddle, and make sure you pick up those knees. You don't have to go far to use your snowshoes. Anytime that there's snow on the trails, hit your local forest preserve to try it out. There are more than 400 bird species reported in Illinois. For someone who's trying to learn their names and calls, that number can be very intimidating. But have no fear, there's a method to the madness. Winter's a great time to start learning your birds because there's fewer out here. So put up a bird feeder and just see who comes. We'll be going through some of your local backyard birds so you can level up in no time. When I first started the district, my birding knowledge was pretty basic. I had a college course teaching us the different species of birds, but we were looking at more stuffed and lifeless specimens. It's much different than having the real deal flying around. So when I started, they told me to take this moment and stay at the feeders, watch who comes, and write it down in a field guide. To start seeing birds as unique species, keep in mind their shape, their size, color, and behavior. It's fun to look up behaviors because it gives the particular bird a little bit more personality, making it easier to remember. Another tip is repetition. The more I quiz myself, the better I got. Birds are separated into different groups. You may be able to name a few off the top of your head, like ducks, bird of prey, and songbirds. For our backyard birds, we'll be going over a few songbirds, sparrows, and woodpeckers. The term songbird makes it feel like all the birds in these categories are world-class singers. But that's not the case. They do, however, share all the same kind of feet that are made for perching and grasping branches. They all share the same characteristic of a muscle control of a specialized vocal organ called the syrinx. The songs of a songbird can range from the sweet whistling song of the northern cardinal to the squawk of American crows. Sparrows are also considered songbirds, but for identification purposes, we'll move them to their own category and discuss them later. We'll start with the bigger birds and work our way down. The first three sport a stylish crest on their heads. First is the blue jay. Blue jays are bright blue with white tummies and black highlights. They're pretty easy to spot from the bunch of these brilliant colors. Blue jays like to be on the forest edges looking for acorns, but at your feeders, they'll go nuts for peanuts. They also make lots of different calls, one being their name, Jay, Jay. But they can also mimic other birds like the scream of a hawk to have the feeders to themselves. The next colorful crested bird is the northern cardinal. Northern cardinal males are bright red all over, where the females are more tan. These birds like to be in pairs and are low in the shrubs near the ground. Even though they're brightly colored, sometimes you still can't see them until you hear a high-pitched chip, and then you know that they're nearby. The last crested songbird is one that may not be as familiar to you. Tufted titmice are silvery gray with a flash of peach on their sides. They like to be in more old-growth forests, so if you live in a newer neighborhood, you might not see them. They also like to hoard in the winter, so you'll see them grab a seed from the feeder, fly off with it, crack it open, and hide the good stuff for a later meal. Another big bird you may see is the plump mourning dove. It's painted in tans and browns with black spots on its wings, and they tend to eat from the ground, but also perch on telephone wires or tree branches. Now, if you think you hear an owl during the day, chances are it's the mourning dove calling out, saying, hoo hoo, 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 hoo. Black-capped chickadees are just the cutest. They're small birds with a black cap on their head and a black bib. And they're very curious. They'll be the first ones to find your feeders, and they'll remind you who they are by saying their name, chickadee-dee-dee. This call is actually used for communication with other birds. The more dee-dee-dees there are, the higher the threat. Similar in colors of the chickadee, the white-breasted nuthatch is more longer and leaner, with black on its head but white on its chest. This bird gets its name by taking an acorn or nut, shoving it into a tree bark, and hatching it with its long, sharp bill. They're also considered the gymnasts of the backyard birds because they can walk down the trees and then kind of do a back bend to keep an eye out for everything. There'll be two common finches in your backyards. First up is the house finch, and it was originally just the western side of the United States. In the 1940s, a few were released in New York after they weren't selling in the pet trade, and now they're pretty widespread. The house finch males have brightly colored red heads and red bellies with brown backs. American goldfinches are easy to identify in the warmer months because they have bright color patterns with gold and solid black. However, in the winter, they molt these colorful feathers, leaving them a very pale yellow and some tans. Goldfinches are known to hang out in open areas where thistles and asters are abundant. The last bird of this group flies in from Canada. The dark-eyed juncos are only here in winter and are often seen in large groups. They have grayish-blackish backs with white tummies and a pinkish bill. They will be on the ground hopping around looking for seed. Sparrows are songbirds that are smaller in size and are shades of brown. A lot of birders I know will say, oh, it's just the little brown ones, and move on. But sparrows can be really exciting once you know more about them. One of the most common sparrows you'll see pretty much anywhere, neighborhoods, buildings, houses, is the house sparrow. Now it's not native, but it's definitely made its home here. Females have browns and blacks mixed in, and the males have a very colorful head with gray, brown, white, and a black bib. This black chest mark is very important because it shows their pecking order. So males with a darker, bigger patch are older and more dominant over those with a smaller patch. Woodpeckers have long, sharp bills to peck wood. They also have long, barbed tongues to get inside to grab those insects. And they have distinct feet that lets them hold on to the bark as they're hammering away. Generally, woodpeckers have all the same kind of shape and the same color patterns, including some sort of black, white, and a dash of red. Red-bellied woodpeckers can be identified by their bright orangey red heads. They also have black and white stripes on their wings. They do have a red spot on their belly, but it's by their feet, so you kind of need to know where to look. They do get confused for the red-headed woodpecker, which is a whole different species with a ruby red head and fully black wings. I've seen both along the trails and at feeders, but the red-bellied woodpecker is the most common. One of the more familiar woodpeckers is the downy woodpecker. It's the smallest one out of all of our local woodpeckers and has a black and white checkered pattern on its wings. Males will have a little red dot on their heads. The downy woodpeckers can get confusing for new birders because they sort of look like the hairy woodpecker. The hairy woodpecker is double the size with a longer bill. Whew, that may have seemed like a bird overload, but trust me, this is the best place to start when learning your backyard birds. Easiest thing to do is set up a feeder and see who comes. Practice every day. Now, if you're not in a spot with a feeder, come out to the forest preserves, walk the trails, or visit us at the facilities that have bird feeding areas like Plum Creek Nature Center or here at Ala Cash Museum in Romeoville. If you start learning your winter birds now, come spring and summer, you'll be able to add on the new migratory birds coming back home. One of my favorite things about the forest preserves is that there's something to do all season long. Don't let winter get you down. Head outside to learn those backyard birds or enjoy a peaceful hike. Hidden Oaks may not be open yet, but don't be a stranger to our other facilities. Don't know where to go? Check out reconnectwithnature.org for facility updates and an interactive trail map to help you map your next adventure. I hope to see you out there, but until then, I'll see you next time on The Buzz.